Before the computer and CGI, to bring a drawing to life, it took hundreds of hours and thousands of drawings. With that being said, it takes an artist to create a painting, but it takes a true visionary to bring that painting to life. Hi, my name is Mike Mraz, and today I'll be talking about cartoonist and artist Joseph Barbera. I'll start with Mr. Barbera's early life and work, and then I'll shift into Mr. Barbera's partnership with William Hanna and their successes at Hanna-Barbera Productions. First, we'll start with Mr. Barbera's upbringing and his rise as a cartoonist. Mr. Barbera was born March 24, 1911 in Little Italy, New York City. His father, although owned 3 successful barber shops, gambled the family savings away and abandoned the family when Mr. Barbera was 15. His maternal uncle Jim had then become his father-like figure. During high school, Mr. Barbera worked as a delivery boy, and after high school, during the Great Depression, worked as a banker. The whole time while working as a banker, Mr. Barbera aspired to be something more. He truly wanted to be a cartoonist or an animator, and had even written to Walt Disney on advice on how to become an animator. Seeing that banking wasn't for him, he quit his job and enrolled in art school. After art school, Mr. Barbera got his first job in animation at Fletcher Studios, working in the paint and ink department. It wasn't long before he was fired and found another job at Van Buren Studios, where he worked for 4 years as a storyboard artist until they shut his doors due to limited funding. After Van Buren Studios, he worked at Terrytoon Studios until lured by a large pay increase to work for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in California. Working for MGM proved to be a turning point in Mr. Barbera's life. While working at MGM, Mr. Barbera met William Hanna, another person who worked in the animation department, and together they were asked to create a short called Puss Gets the Boots. Now, Puss Gets the Boots was about a cat chasing a mouse, and it was an instant hit. It was so popular that it was nominated for an Academy Award in Best Cartoon Short. Although it lost, MGM asked William Hanna and Joseph Barbera to continue working on the shorts, in which they renamed Tom and Jerry. Now, Tom and Jerry was an instant success in which he worked on almost exclusively for 17 years, and at the end of it all, it had won almost 7 Academy Awards. Now, towards the late 1940s, early 50s, TV was gaining popularity, and during that time, less and less revenue was being made off cartoon shorts at the theaters. Due to that, MGM was forced to close its doors to its animation department, and once again, Mr. Barbera was out of a job. Mr. Barbera would not let his early life failures and his setbacks to the successes he experienced stop him from creating one of the most successful cartoon studios to date. After being fired, he teamed up with William Hanna, and together they created HB Enterprises with the sole focus on creating cartoons for Saturday morning television. Now, the problem was the budget before for shorts during a theater version was perhaps $20,000 to $40,000, as to where the new budget for a Saturday morning cartoon was $2,000. To counter this large difference, Mr. Barbera and William Hanna came up with something that they coined limited animation. Limited animation reduced the number of drawings per cartoon by 1/10 and the quality of those drawings, thus reducing the overall quality. They focused more on storyline and voiceovers. Doing this, they were able to create cartoons faster and cheaper than ever before, which was perfect for Saturday morning television. Using limited animation, they came out with their first television show, The Rough and Ready Show, which wasn't very popular and after a year was pulled from the air. Their second TV show, The Huckleberry Hound Show, was their first major success and made HB Enterprises a household name. After a couple more Saturday morning successes using limited animation, including Quick Draw McGraw, they quickly became the kings of Saturday morning television. Given their successes on Saturday morning, it led them to come up with a new cartoon meant for a new crowd and a new TV time, The Flintstones. It was the first cartoon created for primetime television and was an instant hit. It was one of the first cartoons enjoyed both by adults and children. It was the first cartoon to have a pregnant main character. It was the first cartoon to have a storyline arc, with that main character Wilma being pregnant and the birth of Pebbles, her child. It was also the first cartoon to have a man and a woman sleep in the same bed together. It was so popular that many artists and celebrities often quarreled over being able to do something simple as such a voiceover. Given all their successes, they increased their company and changed their name to Hanna-Barbera Productions. Now, following the success of the Flintstones, they created another very successful show called The Jetsons. Now, the Jetsons took 16 months to create the idea of such a futuristic cartoon. And a lot of the things that we saw back then, like Skype on their phone, we could see today in our everyday lives. Other notable cartoons created by Hanna-Barbera Productions include Scooby-Doo, which was created to be a less violent show in 1969 and was actually named after Frank Sinatra's Strangers in the Night. They also created The Smurfs, Dexter's Lab, The Wacky Races, Johnny Bravo, Johnny Quest, Powerpuff Girls, and Cow and Chicken. Although Mr. Barbera faced many failures and setbacks, he did not let it stop him from creating some of the greatest cartoons ever created. At the peak of his career, Mr. Barbera, along with his partner William Hanna, controlled over 80% of children's programming. His work influenced millions of people around the world, including the likes of Michael Jackson and Seth MacFarlane. In conclusion, Mr. Barbera, at the time of his death in 2006, was considered a godfather to the cartoon world. He, along with William Hanna, were the first to realize the hidden potential that cartoons had in television. His cartoons have been translated in over 20 different languages across the globe, influencing millions every single day. Thank you guys. My name is Mike Mraz. This has been a speech on Joseph Barbera.